of the Planets.
Battle of the Planets wasn't just a show. It was the galaxy-sized adventure every kid wished was real. Here are 15 wild facts you didn't know. 15. How Star Wars fever turned Japan's Gatchaman into America's space cartoon. Japan gave us Science Ninja Team Gatchaman in 1972. Sleek bird suits, eco-terror battles, and a message about saving the planet. Then Star Wars exploded in 1977. An American producer, Sandy Frank, saw a window. He bought the show, sliced it up, and renamed it Battle of the Planets. Suddenly, Earthbound oil refineries became alien outposts. Jet fighters turned into starships. Every villain now floated among galaxies instead of pollution clouds. It was clever repackaging, pure timing. Kids believed it lived in the same universe as Luke Skywalker. Ratings followed, along with a wave of schoolyard reenactments. If you ever yelled, "Transmute," before jumping off your couch, you were part of the remix that changed how anime landed in the West. And soon, a little robot would arrive to make sure no kid ever felt afraid. 14. The robot 7-Zark-7 was created, so kids would think everyone survived.
A Spectra soldier does not run! You will remain and fight!
In Japan, villains died on screen. Cities burned. Soldiers screamed. US television couldn't allow that. So American editors built an entire new character, 7-Zark-7, to fill the gaps. Floating inside a bright control room called Centre Neptune, he explained away the explosions and calmly announced, "Everyone's safe." He even had a sidekick, One Rover One, chirping like a Saturday morning pet. Designed to echo Star Wars droids, his job was more than comfort. He linked scenes that had been chopped apart by censors and gave anxious parents peace of mind. To kids, though, he became real, a friendly narrator between chaos and calm. If you ever waited for that shiny robot to tell you it all turned out fine, you remember how Battle of the Planets learned to hide the danger behind a smile, and those smiles soon sounded familiar, straight from American living rooms. 13. Casey Kasem's voice and Hanna-Barbera music made anime feel American.
Sure can't, manifold mouth. Let's cook a few crankcases. Maybe we
The American dub needed voices kids already trusted. So Mark, the team leader, got the voice of Casey Kasem, the same man counting down the nation's top 40 every Sunday. Alan Young, famous for Mr. Ed, handled 7-Zark-7. Add Janet Waldo and Ronnie Schell, and suddenly Battle of the Planets sounded like a cousin of Scooby-Doo composer Hoyt Curtin. Hanna-Barbera's music wizard swapped Japan's cinematic brass for bright Saturday stingers and chase cues. It worked. Children thought it was homegrown, not imported. If Mark's voice reminded you of Robin from Super Friends, you weren't wrong. That overlap helped the series blend in, and for many, it became their first anime experience without them even realizing it. But behind that smooth sound lay scissors, trimming 105 episodes down to something TV safe. 12. US editors cut 20 episodes and rewrote death as robot damage.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is different from the original footage and story of Zoo Ranger. In 2005, ADV Films managed to dub the very first Gatchaman series in its entirety.
Tatsunoko made 105 episodes of Gatchaman. Americans saw about 85. Editors worked fast, cutting hospital scenes, deaths, and anything too grim. Explosions were softened, alcohol vanished, and villains became robots instead of men. Galactor turned into Spectra. Berg Kotze became Zoltar. Even cigarette smoke got airbrushed frame by frame. By the end, the show could pass local station checks in all 50 states. What survived was fast, colorful, and somehow still emotional. Kids noticed none of it. They just saw action that felt cinematic for weekday TV. If you remember jets blowing apart with no pilots inside, you felt those edits working in real-time violence turned into spectacle, and the line between rescue and destruction blurred beautifully. But one phrase, born in translation, would stick harder than any explosion. 11. Transmute replaced Bird Go and became every playground's war cry.
I copy, Zark. What's up?
There's no time to explain right now, Mark. You're needed in command on the Phoenix.
In Japan, the heroes shouted, "Bird Go," to transform. Simple. In the US, editors wanted a single power word. Short, sharp, and alien. They invented Transmute, and it became lightning in a bottle.
Transmute!
They reused transformation footage again and again to stretch runtime, but it didn't matter. The word stuck. Kids screamed it in playgrounds, living rooms, anywhere their jackets could double as capes. Every child who shouted it felt like a hero. It was the first anime catchphrase to cross into American slang before anyone knew it came from Japan. If your best friend yelled "Transmute" and you leapt after him, that spark came from a dubbing booth in Los Angeles, and it still echoes through anime history. But one voice in that team spoke differently, and for a strange reason no kid knew in 1978. 10. Keyop's beeps hid his genetic origin and turned tragedy into comedy.
You hear something? Rocket attack. Take your stations and brace for contact. Full power on.
In Gatchaman, Jinpei was a tough street kid. Even a lab-engineered child U.S. censors wanted none of that. So the dub made him Keyop, with stuttering robot-like speech. B to bip bip.
Look! But don't touch! Right!
To mask the edits and skip tricky dialogue. Kids found it funny. Adults found it cute. It became his trademark. Merch followed. Lunchboxes, stickers, toys, all chirping Keyop's B to bip. His glitch replaced tragedy with charm, and the character went from experimental orphan to comic relief. Yet for children, it worked. He sounded like a friend trying his best to fit in. If you ever copied Keyop's beeps on your bike ride home, that memory belongs to the show's translators as much as its animators. But one edit proved far riskier, when they had to explain a villain who changed faces and genders on screen. 9. Zoltar's twin sister. Storyline replaced a gender-shifting Japanese villain.
A Spectra soldier does not run! You will remain and fight!
Japan's Katse could shift genders. A bold move for 1972. American producers panicked. Censors wouldn't approve of a gender-fluid villain, so they rewrote it. Katse became Zoltar, with a twin sister named Mala. Problem solved, they thought voice actors adjusted dialogue, animators hid certain frames, and the mystery turned into sibling rivalry. To American kids, it made sense. Two villains, one mask, constant drama. For Japan, it stripped away one of anime's first complex villains. Still, the image of Zoltar removing that mask burned into young minds everywhere. If you remember that twist reveal, it's his sister. That line existed only for US comfort, not Japanese canon. And to cover these new story gaps, editors needed something bigger, a setting that could connect worlds in a single frame. 8. Space bridges and starfields were added to turn Earth plots galactic.
Just about exhausted. Do the job and do it right.
The original show stayed on Earth, oil rigs, labs, and oceans. The US version wanted stars, galaxies, and scale. So, editors built Centre Neptune, a high-tech underwater base, and added brand new space transitions. Narration from Zark described distances between planets that never existed in the Japanese cut. It was pure illusion, and it worked perfectly. Every refinery suddenly felt like Mars. Every ocean chase looked like deep space. The edits turned a grounded show into a cosmic epic. If you remember the Phoenix flying through starfields after every fight, your brain filled in the gaps Zark created. That's how good the illusion was. It rewrote memories, and those memories deepened because of when and where the show aired, far from the Saturday morning crowd. 7. It aired after school, creating a hidden fan club of loyal viewers.
Princess, Tiny, Keyop, Mark, Jason, and watching over them from Centre Neptune.
Most kids watched Saturday cartoons on the big three networks. Battle of the Planets aired on weekday afternoons, tucked into syndication blocks. No network promotion, no toy blitz, just word of mouth. But that made it special. It felt like a secret show shared only by kids who rushed home early enough to catch it. Stations like KTLA in Los Angeles or WPIX in New York slotted it between reruns and local hosts. Ratings weren't massive, but loyalty was. If you remember sprinting home at 4 p.m. to catch that Phoenix takeoff, you belonged to the secret club. You could even tell who else watched by the way they drew helmets in their notebooks. And those notebooks soon filled with one image, the bird that united every playground argument. 6. Toys, comics, and model kits turned the show into a 1979 merch explosion. The bird suits were toy gold. Helmets, visors, capes, clean lines perfect for plastic molds. Whitman and Gold Key released comics. Japan's Papy sold die-cast God Phoenix toys. UK's Look-In magazine ran color spreads. Merch traveled across oceans, even without primetime exposure. Kids carried the show from TV to school bags to birthday lists. Parents learned every team color by heart. Collectors today still chase unopened Phoenix kits from 1979, worth hundreds. If your Phoenix toy lost its wings by spring and you kept flying it anyway, you know the feeling. This show wasn't background noise. It was an obsession. And years later, that obsession gave rise to 3 different versions across generations, each one rewriting what counted as canon. 5. 3 different dubs, told the same story in 3 different decades.
June the Swan, Science Ninja Team member G3.
First came Japan's Gatchaman, serious and political. Then the 1978 Battle of the Planets, friendly, spacey, and safe. Finally, G-Force, Guardians of Space. In 1986, a looser redub with Zark removed. Decades later, ADV restored the uncut originals with subtitles, same footage, different intentions, each one revealing a cultural moment. For fans, it felt like growing up with the same show told 3 ways. Childhood fantasy, teenage rediscovery, adult respect. If you ever rewatched it in your 20s and said, wait, that line was missing before, you lived that timeline firsthand. The series grew with its audience, something rare in the era of disposable cartoons, and that legacy starts even earlier, in how one bird design rewrote the look of hero teams everywhere. 4. Birdsuits and the Phoenix Ship became the template for future team shows.
Is an iconic anime that most real anime connoisseurs would have dug into, and if you haven't, well, we've got you covered. This groundbreaking anime by Tatsuo Yoshida chalked out the blueprint for a crime-fighting anime team.
Every cape, visor, and emblem came from the bird theme, a bold design move by Tatsunoko. The Phoenix Ship mirrored their identities, sleek, bright, unified. This template became the DNA of team-based shows to come. Voltron, Power Rangers, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles borrowed its rhythm. Kids instantly understood the colors. Red led, blue sniped, green fought, yellow scouted, white flew. Every playground had its own G-Force lineup. If your best friend claimed red first and you argued for blue, that argument happened in classrooms from 1978 to 1983 across 2 continents. That clarity of design made lifelong fans, and many of them didn't just stay fans, they built careers. 3. Battle of the Planets inspired a generation of future creators and designers.
G-Force, 5 incredible young people with superpowers.
Before Pokemon or Dragon Ball hit the West, this was the anime gateway. The teamwork, cliffhangers, and discipline stayed with kids who would later shape pop culture. Writers, animators, and game designers in the 80s and 90s often named Battle of the Planets as their first spark. Its balance of style and story proved cartoons could feel cinematic without huge budgets. Therefore, those early viewers carried its lessons into modern franchises. If you drew your own G-Force team in middle school, you were already sketching your creative future. That influence spread wider than its ratings ever did. And speaking of ratings, the show's numbers tell a story of quiet success and stubborn loyalty. 2. Ratings stayed low, but fan loyalty turned it into an unbreakable cult classic.
I'll get you there fast. Big Ten.
Battle of the Planets never topped charts, but its footprint stayed everywhere. From 1978 through 1980, stations renewed it because phones rang with requests. Kids taped episodes on early VCRs, swapped recordings, and drew continuations. Nielsen numbers couldn't track playground obsession, yet syndicators noticed. Each city aired different mixes, so children compared episodes across states like shared secrets. That fragmented distribution turned local fans into loyal communities. If your math notebook hit a Phoenix sketch beside homework, you were part of that loyalty story. It wasn't measured in points, it was measured in memory, and those memories created one of the biggest misconceptions in cartoon history: the belief that the team actually lived in space. 1. Fans still swear. It was set in space, proof that memory beats reality. Decades later, fans swore Battle of the Planets took place across galaxies. The truth: most episodes never left Earth. The illusion came from those added starfields in Zark's narrations, turning ground missions into space wars. It was so convincing that memory rewrote itself. When DVDs restored the originals, fans were stunned to see refineries and docks instead of alien worlds. Yet that false memory became part of the show's charm, proof of how edits can shape collective nostalgia. If your mind still sees planets spinning behind the Phoenix, you're living proof that the remix worked. Battle of the Planets didn't just adapt anime, it rewired imagination itself. Until next time, stay nostalgic.